Hey guys, in this month's Historical Fiction 101, I'm going to be sharing with you alternate history recommendations. So, what is alternate history, you may be asking? Maybe it's self-explanatory, I don't know, but in case you're like, well, what does that exactly mean? The best way to describe alternate history is that if you have, well, for the case of this video, I'm going to be using historical fiction, just to make that clear. This is going to be historical fiction. Alternate history is when you have something that is historic or taking place in a certain era, but there is something that is different, something that never happened. I suppose, I'm not quite sure if I'm explaining that correctly. I guess as I'm giving you these recommendations, it'd be a bit more clear what I'm trying to say here. But yeah, alternate history is essentially when just something, some element, maybe a person or an event, just something is different. It can be something huge, it can be something kind of small, just anything that kind of changes what you know about history. What is, you know, we know what is told in our textbooks and our history books, but yeah, it's kind of a big thing of what if, you know, ask the question, what if this happened? What if this person did this instead of doing that? You know, get the idea? Like I said, I have some recommendations here. I don't really have too many. I kind of picked and chose ones that I thought were just some really good examples of the genre, I suppose. And before I do get going, I want to make a disclaimer here, because you may be wondering, oh, why isn't The Man in the High Castle on this list? The Man in the High Castle by Philip K. Dick. I originally had The Man in the High Castle on this list, but I'm going with the book here. I'm not going with like the TV show, because like I said, this is Historical Fiction 101. The TV series you could call historical fiction, but the book was actually contemporary at the time. When Philip K. Dick wrote the book, he wrote it in the 1960s, and the book itself also takes place in the 1960s. So yeah, that's why The Man in the High Castle is not on this particular list, because at the time, if that makes sense, it would have been alternate contemporary history, I guess, something like that. So yeah, let's get going with my list of recommendations here. And as usual, I have my notes so we can get through this video cohesively and a little bit quicker. The first thing I have here is The Bolin King by Laura Anderson. And what this book is essentially doing, this is actually a trilogy, what this series is questioning is, what if Anne Boleyn had given King Henry VIII a son? So yeah, after King Henry VIII, as we know, it was Elizabeth I who ruled after Henry VIII, her father. So yeah, this book is saying, well, what if Henry VIII, Anne Boleyn had given him a son, who after him would have become Henry IX. So yeah, that changes up history quite massively. Like I said, Elizabeth I comes after. She has the golden age, kind of the height of the Renaissance in some ways. Things really are shaken up with her reign. So yeah, this trilogy, I have read the first book. I have not read the second or third book yet, but I am dying to. And yeah, it is such a fascinating concept. I really, really found it intriguing. Just, it really makes you kind of think, like, huh, what if Henry VIII had a son? You know, that changes the whole monarchy. Next, Dominion by C.J. Sansom. This takes place in 1952 in Britain, and Britain has surrendered to Nazi Germany. So yeah, the whole premise of this book, you know, this is almost very similar to The Man in the High Castle, I feel like. Yeah, if Nazi Germany had won the war, essentially, and what they end up doing. But yeah, this is taking place entirely in Britain. I have read books by C.J. Sansom. I really love his writing and his style. So yeah, this is a book I definitely would like to pick up. And like I said, it sounds almost like The Man in the High Castle, so this is something I should pick up. And next, 11/22/63 by Stephen King. And this book kind of has a couple different things going on because it also has this element of science fiction added to the history and whatnot. My understanding of this book is that a man, he's living in the present, but he kind of time travels back into the past to prevent the assassination of John F. Kennedy. Ooh, seriously, this sounds awesome. You guys, this sounds very, very intriguing and captivating. I know there's is it a Netflix show or an Amazon show? I can't remember. Or Hulu, one of those shows, one of those networks. I know that this is a TV series with, what is his name? James Franco, I think he's in that series, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, I definitely gotta get my hands on this book, you guys. So yeah, that's going to be a big thing. Is he going to prevent the assassination of JFK or not? I don't know. Next, Fatherland by Robert Harris. And this is another book that almost sounds like The Man in the High Castle. So it seems like Nazi Germany winning World War II is a very popular alternate history subject to you guys. With a good reason, you know. I mean, it's a very scary thought. But yeah, this is about a detective who unravels a conspiracy that may be the end for the Third Reich. And yeah, I was reading more of the synopsis on here and it sounded so thrilling and exciting. And then I have another list of books here that I wasn't entirely sure if they would count as alternate history. I kind of was including them that they count as alternate history in very subtle ways, if that makes sense. So yeah, I have something like the Parasol Protectorate series by Gail Carriger. And yeah, what's considered alternate history, like in this, it takes place in Victorian London, but you know how Victorian London was and how we perceive it, but what's different is that it's a steampunk world, essentially. There's higher advancements of technology and mechanical sorts of things. It's still Victorian London, but yeah, there's something kind of a bit more modern about it because of the technological advances. So yeah, I kind of consider the genre of steampunk also to some degree as a form of alternate history. Not maybe total alternate history, but yeah, kind of a subtle version of alternate history, if that makes sense. And then I also included something like Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter by Seth Graham Smith. I kind of considered this alternate history because of Abraham Lincoln, because of how his life story is depicted in the book. He has these encounters with vampires at a very young age. His mother is killed by a vampire when he's a child. So yeah, that turns him into this badass vampire hunter through the book, and yeah, his journey to becoming president, and even when he's president, he's out there killing vampires. And yeah, the ending, you guys, the ending it's a little bit predictable because it is about vampires, so you know Lincoln gets assassinated and whatnot by John Wilkes Booth, but yeah, kind of throw in the vampire twist as well. You can probably kind of guess where the ending is going. But yeah, I kind of consider something like that alternate history, you know, that we know Abraham Lincoln as, you know, the 16th president of the United States, but yeah, he was also secretly a vampire hunter. And then I also have something like Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell by Susanna Clarke, because I saw that a lot of people kind of put this on alternate history lists, mostly because of the fact that the book is very much kind of like magical realism in some ways, that because the book is about these two rival magicians, and you know, the magicians, it's something very normal in this world, in this society. It takes place kind of during the Napoleonic Wars in Britain. And yeah, like the main character, Jonathan Strange, he's kind of sent to the military to help the British fight back against Napoleon's forces with whatnot, because he has magic and he can use his magic to fight against Napoleon's armies and whatnot. So yeah, a lot of people kind of consider that alternate history in some ways, just because of the magic, because the magic is very realistic, and it's something that's kind of normal in the way it's presented in the book. rather than it being like really fantastical, I suppose, if that makes sense. So that's it for this month's Historical Fiction 101. In the comments below, did this video make sense? I'm a little concerned that this video might have been a little confusing in some places, and yeah, kind of how I was determining what to consider alternate history, because yeah, you may not feel the same way about some of these choices that I have in here, that some of them you may consider alternate history, but then some of them you may be like, I don't really consider that alternate history. But yeah, if you have concerns like that, just let me know your thoughts about it, how I was kind of presenting it in this video, I suppose. But yeah, are there any major ones that I left off this list? Just let me know, and leave your thoughts and comments down in the comment section below. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you like this video, you may like these other videos. Bye guys.